Marcus's new girlfriend, Tiffany, lacked proper etiquette and actually dared to initiate a confrontation at Chloe's preschool. Mrs. Marcus, the one who isn't loved, is just the other woman. I looked at the beautiful but foolish woman before me and couldn't help but show an expression of concern for the mentally challenged. Laughable. What good is his love to me? A life of regular payments and not having to cater to a man? That's absolutely fantastic. Before we continue, please subscribe to this channel and tell us in the comments where you're listening from. What a cute but clueless beauty. I was amused by the woman's foolish yet beautiful demeanor and couldn't help but start spewing venom. My daughter, already in pre-K, scrutinized the flamboyantly dressed woman from head to toe. As she walked past her, she let out a soft sigh and said in a sweet, childish voice, "Marcus's taste is getting worse and worse these days." A devastating blow indeed, and the little girl's eyes reddened with anger. She was truly pitifully charming, and I was so moved I rolled my eyes. After getting into the car, Chloe placed her little backpack aside and looked at me with her arms crossed. "Mom, when are you going to divorce Marcus?" "Oh, you actually want Mom to divorce Marcus? Aren't you afraid people will mock you for being a fatherless child?" I held the steering wheel, glancing up at the rearview mirror. "Huh? What's the difference? Isn't he practically non-existent now anyway?" "That's true," I nodded, in full agreement. "Besides, think about it, Mom." Chloe stood up and leaned against my seat, persuading me, "You're young and pretty, and I'm starting elementary school soon. Mother and daughter don't need Marcus, this man who is a husband in name only. We're doing just fine on our own. It's not bad, but I'm a little reluctant." Chloe's soft, adorable face wore a bewildered expression, and she exclaimed, "Mom, what are you reluctant about with him? He barely spends 3 days a year with us, if that." "Pfft, of course, I'm reluctant to give up his money." I quickly pecked Chloe's cheek. Her face was full of collagen, bouncy and smooth. Chloe pouted, then sat back in her seat and said, "That's true. Even though Marcus a string of mistresses outside, he's quite generous to us mother and daughter." "Exactly. Your beautiful mommy here, at most, can only make $2,000 a month. Marcus might be unfaithful, but he's generous. Where else can we find a phantom father who sends monthly transfers to us mother and daughter?" I held the steering wheel and pulled up to a small yard full of flowers. Getting out of the car, I took Chloe's backpack and held her soft little hand. "But, aren't you sad?" Chloe stopped and looked up at me earnestly. I crouched down, meeting Chloe's gaze, and said gently but firmly, "Chloe, the premise of sadness is caring. Besides myself, the only person Mom cares about is you." Chloe gave me a loud kiss on the cheek and skipped into the house. Watching the small figure disappear inside, I gently exhaled. The lingering sunset gilded the rose bushes in the garden. In a daze, I recalled the first time Marcus and I met. Too, my marriage to Marcus was very much like the Cinderella and the Prince story, often told in fairy tales. At that time, I was young, beautiful, and well-read, a well-known star student at Eastwood University, and was the heir of Bright Star in Coastwood City. We met at a networking event where Marcus, as an outstanding Eastwood University alumnus, returned for a limited engagement, and I was the host of that event. After that, Marcus began a relentless romantic pursuit of me, but I politely and gracefully declined. From the beginning, I knew that the only resource I had to offer was my exceptional looks. And for someone like Marcus, I was nothing more than a fleeting fascination, fueled by temporary novelty. The drama of life is that before it presents you with a beautiful rose garden, it always lays out a thorny path. As I mentioned, I was the Cinderella, a sick mother, an early deceased father, a broken. But I wasn't broken. Instead, I survived tenaciously, resilient like a weed. Since starting university, my various scholarships were enough to cover my living and tuition expenses. By writing novels in my free time, I could also earn some spending money. Every year before my mother's birthday, I would save a small sum of money as a birthday gift for her. Having relied on each other for many years, I knew better than anyone that money was more useful than any flashy gift. Dramatically, in my sophomore year, my mother was diagnosed with liver cancer, and a liver transplant surgery would cost at least $30,000. After the diagnosis, my mother decided to forego treatment. "Grace, let's not treat it. I don't have anything to give you already. I can't leave you with a pile of debt after I'm gone." I hadn't cried in a long time. After hanging up the phone with my mother that time, I lay on my dorm room bed, silently weeping for a long time. Just then, Marcus called again, asking me out to dinner. This time, I didn't refuse. Sitting in Marcus's passenger seat, I used my cell phone to Google the price of a Rolls-Royce. The down payment alone would cover my mother's surgery costs. "Have you been crying?" Marcus still had some youthful charm then, tall and handsome, his tone cautious and gentle. Is it that obvious? I forced a bitter smile. What happened? Marcus asked, feigning concern. My mother was diagnosed with liver cancer, and the surgery will cost $30,000, I said calmly. Marcus raised an eyebrow, a faint smile playing on his lips. So, that's why you agreed to come out with me today? I know, it's very presumptuous. But borrowing from you is indeed the fastest method. I carefully chose my words, feeling anxious at that moment. I was terrified of angering Marcus, as my mother's chances of survival would plummet. You're very clever. Marcus tapped on the steering wheel with his long index finger, then smiled and asked, but do you have the ability to pay it back? I bit my lip and said, in the short term, I might not be able to pay it all at once. But I can pay it back over several years, and you can add on normal interest. Actually, there's an even simpler way. Marcus freed one hand and placed it over mine, smiling as he asked, how about being my girlfriend? Mr. Marcus, do you mean that if I become your girlfriend, I won't have to pay back this $30,000? I lowered my gaze to the hand grasped by his large one, asking in a low voice. That's right. If you agree now, I can transfer money to you immediately, Marcus said, his smile confident. Aren't you afraid I'm a fraud? I hesitated slightly. $30,000? That's all, $30,000, that's all? At that moment, I truly felt the immense gap between our worlds. I genuinely like you, Grace. If you agree to be my girlfriend, I can also arrange for the best doctors to treat your aunt. How does that sound? Marcus coaxed persuasively, lightly kissing the back of my hand. Okay. My mind was still blank when I heard my own voice. PayPal transfer received, $40,000. As the mechanical female voice came from my cell phone, the gears of destiny began to turn. From that day on, I became one of Marcus's girlfriends. Mom, what are you thinking about? Chloe watched me, resting her chin in her hands, while I looked down at the potato I had mashed completely. I smiled and said, nothing, just thinking about Chloe's birthday next month. What kind of birthday gift do you want? I want you to divorce Marcus, and then find me a new dad who's 6'2", has an 8-pack, and is loyal and handsome. Chloe counted on her soft fingers, stating her wishes with extreme seriousness. I raised an eyebrow. This little one's dreams were certainly grand. Not to mention finding such a perfect new dad, even Marcus wouldn't easily divorce me. It wasn't because he loved me so much, but because he thought I was the most suitable candidate for Mrs. Marcus, gentle, beautiful, and sensible, highly educated and emotionally stable, able to win over his mother-in-law's approval. Most importantly, I never interfered with his other women outside, and could even effortlessly get along with them. Let's be a bit more practical, sweetheart. Where am I going to find you such a high-caliber new dad? I scoffed, turning to prepare the sauce. Sigh, Ms. Grace, you're really wasting your pretty face. Do I have to be in a relationship with a man for it not to be a waste? Can't I just appreciate myself, little one? I poured the stir-fried meat sauce over the mashed potatoes, saying with a light laugh. Not necessarily. I just don't want my dearest mom to waste her time. Chloe pulled out her child's dining chair and said with a feigned nonchalance. I placed the mashed potatoes with meat sauce on the trivet Chloe had set out and patted her fluffy little head. How could that be? Right now, I'm supporting you, and when I'm old, you'll support me. That's fair, Chloe, holding her favorite child-friendly bowl, scooped a large portion of mashed potatoes and said while eating, Mom, that's emotional blackmail. So stop thinking about useless things. Living well in the present is the most important. Marcus walked in at that moment. Chloe looked up, gave Marcus a dismissive glance, and politely but distantly called out, Dad's home. I got up and went to the entryway to find him a pair of men's slippers. They had been unworn for so long that a thin layer of dust had settled on them. I brushed them off casually, placing the slippers on the floor. Why are you here today? Marcus, impeccably dressed in his suit, put on the slippers, then put his arm around my waist, kissed my cheek, and said with a smile, I heard my dear wife was angry, so I came to apologize. As he spoke, he took out a small gift box and handed it to me. Inside the gift box lay 6 neatly arranged 20G Go LD bars. I closed the lid, my eyes smiling as I said, thank you, husband. Tisk, TSK, what a little money lover. Not angry anymore? Marcus playfully pinched my cheek, his voice pleased. When have I ever made trouble for your little flings? Naomi, Mia, and Celeste still ask me out for movies and manicures regularly. But this new little girl of yours went too far, showing up at Chloe's preschool. You know, bothering me is fine, but Chloe is my bottom line. I said unhurriedly, stroking the gold bars. Got it, Mrs. Marcus. Don't be mad, I've already had secretary give her a settlement. If you don't like her, I'll replace her. Marcus smiled beautifully, his tone carrying a subtle hint of indulgence, as casually as if discussing the weather. Dad, I think tonight is Leo's birthday. Chloe said from the dining table, eating her mashed potatoes without looking up. Oh, you're right, I completely forgot. Marcus picked up his cell phone, his voice slightly annoyed. I went to the storage cabinet and took out a wrapped gift box, handing it to him. This is the latest PlayStation Portable. Leo should like it. Sigh, what would I do without you, Grace? Marcus kissed my forehead, took the gift box, and then transferred $5,200 to me. Thank you, wife. I'll get going now. Just like that, after half a year, Marcus spent less than 5 minutes with Chloe and me. And I received 620G gold bars, along with a $5,200 transfer, totaling around $10,000. Chloe walked over, feeling the weight of the gold bars in the gift box, and said frankly, I think Marcus actually has one good quality, he occasionally gives me cash gifts. I fully agreed. Ever since I started treating the role of Mrs. Marcus as a job, my mindset has grown increasingly peaceful, along with the rising balance in my bank account. For when called, I was at Chloe's graduation ceremony. The family had initially wanted to send Chloe to an elite preschool, but at my persistent insistence, she was sent to a public preschool. That was the only time I ever made a request of Marcus, and given my consistently good behavior over the years, he didn't refuse. He just had a word with the principal beforehand. Therefore, even though Chloe's identity as the daughter of Coastwood City's wealthiest man was concealed, the preschool's higher-ups would still occasionally extend an olive branch to me, expressing unusual warmth. While it deviated somewhat from my original plan, at least the first step was taken. From the moment I married Marcus, I knew this marriage wasn't about love, but a result of the power struggle between Marcus and his late father, the former chairman of Brightstar. This also meant the marriage wouldn't last long. Therefore, I still hoped that my child and I could face a normal life with ease after leaving the Marcus family. Divorcing wouldn't be easy. Until he showed disinterest in me, I couldn't cause him to lose face. This wasn't just about the stable financial income, but more about his influence in Coastwood City. It was too easy for the Marcus family to crush someone. During my years as Mrs. Marcus, I personally witnessed those who had offended Marcus fall from grace and be trampled into the dust. Marcus's ability to smoothly take over Brightstar and discreetly deal with the eagerly waiting relatives, dissidents, and illegitimate children proved that he was not a playboy indulged in beauty. He also had a certain pattern for choosing women. Smart girls who were clear-headed, discreet, and know when to advance or retreat. Of course, there were exceptions, like the one who initiated the confrontation at the preschool gate. Occasionally, there would be young women whose greed got the better of them, believing they were special to Marcus and making wrong decisions. Grace, Marcus seems to have a new college student girlfriend recently. Naomi's voice on the other end of the phone was calm. As one of Marcus's longest-standing mistresses, she was happy to share information with me. Really? Which university? Eastwood University, a sophomore. I hear she's a star student and very pretty. Somewhat like you. Naomi's tone was hesitant. I seemed to detect a hint of compassion. Oh? That sounds quite interesting. My gaze fell on Chloe, dressed in a black dress, and I quickly stood up from my seat, grinning and waving at her. Chloe coolly raised an eyebrow at me, signaling, I see you. This year's graduation ceremony theme was promoting environmental protection, and the pre-K children all wore dresses made by their parents from recycled materials. For dress, I referenced the black dress with white flowers from a popular historical drama. It looked quite stunning in photos. Grace, I think Marcus is serious this time. You should prepare yourself. I sent you some photos on text message. After hanging up, I didn't rush to open my text messages. Instead, I opened my camera and took a flurry of candid photos of my Chloe. After taking the pictures, I slowly opened my text messages. In the photos, Marcus and the young woman were holding hands, each with a trendy bubble tea he'd usually disdain, wearing matching outfits he'd never touch. Marcus had certainly never shown such a boyish smile in front of me. He looked like a love-struck young man. But what surprised me most was that the girl bore a striking 9/10 resemblance to me from 6 years ago. She had long, straight black hair, while I had natural wavy dark hair. That was our only difference. After the preschool graduation ceremony, I took Chloe for a photo shoot to commemorate her carefree childhood. During the photo shoot, I asked Chloe which city she wanted to live in the future. Chloe was a very perceptive child. She sat in front of the vanity mirror, looking at me in the reflection, and asked calmly, "Mom, is my birthday wish about to come true?" Almost, half of it. I tilted my head, carefully answering, "Wherever goes, I go." That night, after Chloe fell asleep, I quietly checked my account balance. After we married, Marcus would transfer $5,000 to me without fail every month. For the first 3 years, I devoted myself to taking care of Chloe and had no income, so I could only save about $3,000 to $4,000 a month. After started preschool, I resumed writing and content creation. My earnings grew from an initial $100 to $200 to now $1,000 to $2,000, which was perfectly sufficient for Chloe's and my daily expenses. Marcus was very generous. He would give us a birthday cash gift of $1,000 to $2,000 for Chloe and me, and he also gives me significant cash gifts for Valentine's Day or our anniversary. Now, in our 7th year of marriage, my bank account had $350,000. $350,000 was insignificant, not even enough to buy a decent sports car. But to me, this money was enough for Chloe and me to live comfortably for the rest of our lives. This was also one of the reasons I could maintain emotional stability after enduring 7 years of blatant infidelity. Admittedly, if I could endure until Marcus grew old or passed away, Chloe and I might inherit billions. But I was quite certain Chloe wouldn't like that kind of life. She was like a mollusk living in a hard shell, calm on the surface but delicate and sensitive inside. When she was very, very young, she also longed for abundant paternal love. But after countless disappointments, she completely gave up and closed off her heart. Whenever I thought of this, I felt a pang of guilt. I used to think that perhaps if I married an ordinary person, my child would enjoy a warm, simple, and complete family relationship. Naomi, who was sitting across from me, scoffed and retorted after hearing this, "Sis, do you know how many married women dream of the life you're living right now? Do you think if you marry an ordinary man, the father won't be absent? In half the households, men come home, throw their socks and clothes everywhere, and sprawl on the sofa like a wet rag, doing nothing but scrolling TikTok. If you complain a little, he'll tell you how hard he works and how difficult it is to support the family, then psychologically manipulate you into believing you're not virtuous enough, not capable enough, and haven't taken good care of the children and the family." Watching say these things with a casual yet slightly mocking tone while drinking coffee, I was speechless for a moment. Perhaps there are men loyal to their family, loving to their wife and children, and responsible. It's just that people like us don't meet them. The bracelet on Naomi's wrist shone with a rich luster, but her perfectly made-up face revealed a hint of resignation. "Grace, I really envy you." Naomi said to me sadly, "You are Marcus's legitimate wife, and you don't even love him." At the time, I couldn't tell if she envied my status as Mrs. Marcus or my clarity in not loving Marcus. My thoughts returned. I took out my jewelry box. Except for the rings and bracelets passed down through the Marcus family, all the other gold jewelry was packed together with the gold bars. 5 birthday, I wore an elegant formal dress befitting Mrs. Marcus, with a low hair bun, presenting the gentle image Eleanor preferred. Chloe also wore a modernized elegant dress, looking like a delicate and beautiful doll from a poster. Eleanor Buddhism, so every year for her birthday, she would go to Coastwood City's most famous vegetarian restaurant. The owner, Mr. David, was a prominent figure in Buddhism, so reservations for his restaurant always had to be made 6 months in advance. Since 3rd birthday, I had been making reservations there, and for festivals and holidays, I never forgot to send the owner some spiritual gifts. Over the years, Mr. David had come to remember me as the filial and wealthy Mrs. Marcus. Every time during my mother-in-law's birthday banquet, he would come over to check in, offer some well wishes, and even present 2 chef specials, giving me considerable respect. "Mrs. Eleanor, your daughter-in-law is truly wonderful. She reserves the best private room for you at the beginning of each year, and reviews the menu a month in advance. She couldn't be more attentive if she were your own daughter." Mr. David wore a beige designer linen jacket, and in his hand was the rare gemstone bracelet I had given him the year before last. "Indeed, my Grace is the most filial. Much better than my useless son." Eleanor, dressed in a richly embroidered elegant dress with a gingerbread interwoven pattern, lived a life of constant ease, which had left few traces of time on her face. When she smiled, only the corners of her eyes showed faint crow's feet, making her appear elegant and kind. "Oh dear, Mrs. Eleanor, if you say that, we'll all have to find a hole to crawl into." "If Marcus were useless, wouldn't we all be folded up and sold for scrap paper? Mr. David's tone was humorous and witty, and the atmosphere visibly improved. It was at this moment that Marcus walked in, wearing casual clothes that didn't quite suit his status. Having always seen him impeccably dressed in suits, his current youthful and vibrant appearance was quite striking. Mr. David didn't become casual because of Marcus's relaxed attire. Instead, he enthusiastically and respectfully shook Marcus's hand, offering a lot of lovely well wishes that made Eleanor beam with joy. "What are you wearing?" After the door closed, Eleanor, though speaking to Marcus, her gaze sharply darted to me. I curled my lips, suppressing my exasperation, and calmly fabricated, "Marcus has been conducting research at Eastwood University these past few days. To deeply understand the market demands of target customers, he has been working undercover as a college student." I paused, trying to make myself look like a love-struck idiot, and continued, "Mom, don't you think a CEO so hands-on is incredibly handsome?" Eleanor's expression softened slightly. She looked at me with a mix of disappointment yet fondness. "Only you would defend your own husband like that. I can't argue with you." "Oh, that's not fair, Mom. How can you be so elegant and charming even when you're angry?" I continued to offer a wave of flattery, diligently playing the role of a sycophant. "Your lips are like they're smeared with honey. No wonder my son is so wrapped around your finger." Eleanor chided playfully, announcing the start of the meal. I smiled gently and appropriately, but inwardly, I was cheering on that college student, hoping she would soon gain status through having a son and allow me to step down. Now that I had accumulated enough capital for divorce, I was getting tired of playing the role of Mrs. Marcus. "Exactly. See what a wonderful daughter-in-law I brought you." Marcus proudly put his arm around my shoulder, looking at Eleanor as if seeking approval, who elegantly rolled her eyes at him. Because we were so close, I could smell a faint perfume on Marcus. Unlike the heavily perfumed scents that Celeste and the others usually wore, this time it was Chanel Eau. Combined with Marcus's casual attire, he must have rushed over from the college student's place. I raised an eyebrow, the smile in my eyes deepening. I felt that the time for me to regain my freedom was drawing closer. Thinking of this, my appetite also improved. As was customary in previous years, we would stay overnight at the estate. After the family dinner, a driver took our family back to Grandview in a stretched Lincoln. Chloe was accustomed to this routine and remained calm throughout, her emotions as stable as a meditating guinea pig. Marcus was typing on his keyboard, his head bowed. Although he concealed it well, his slightly furrowed brow showed a hint of impatience. I could tell with my eyes closed that the newly enamored couple's brief separation had sparked a lingering longing and resentment. I raised an eyebrow, already starting to prepare a plausible excuse to convince Eleanor if Marcus insisted on not staying overnight. Sure enough, after dinner, Marcus told Eleanor that he had urgent company matters that required the CEO's personal attention. Eleanor narrowed her eyes, smiling at him with a knowing but not saying expression. After a long moment, she let him go. But after his figure disappeared out the door, Eleanor said to me with a pointed meaning, "Grace, only you can be Mrs. Marcus, do you understand?" My heart sank a little, but on the surface, I smiled, flustered but grateful. "Thank you, Mom." Eleanor watched me steadily for a moment, then waved her hand, allowing the staff to help her upstairs. Chloe had her own room and went to bed promptly at 9 every night, her routine as regular as an ancient, ethereal sage. I took a comfortable shower, and seeing my account balance had grown to $500,000, my mood brightened even further. These past 2 days, I had contacted a familiar jewelry store and sold all the gold jewelry Marcus had given me over the years. In a few days, I would also sell Marcus's unused designer bags, which should bring in another sum. Marcus treated Chloe and me quite well. If I could divorce him according to his wishes, allowing him and his young lover to end up together, I should also receive a substantial settlement. The only remaining issue was Chloe's custody. As only child, the Marcus family likely wouldn't easily give up custody, unless that college student could have a son for him. So, this matter couldn't be rushed. The girl was still a sophomore in college, so she wouldn't be able to marry Marcus and have children anytime soon. That meant I would have to wait at least another 2 years. Sigh. I exited the phone screen, changed into my pajamas, and began to blow dry my hair, seriously contemplating how to make the most of these 2 years. Just as I put down the hairdryer, Marcus suddenly embraced me from behind. Before I could ask why he had suddenly returned, light, frequent kisses were already falling on the side of my neck. When went to take a shower, I tried to convince myself that this was a wife's duty. About once or twice a year, Marcus would suddenly decide to fulfill his duties as a husband, almost like a ghost coming back to life. But it was okay. All that resentment, grievance, and speechlessness would ultimately be smoothed over by the balance in my bank account. At least I had money. Love can't feed you, but money can. 6. A new follower named Daydreamer appeared on Instagram. Clicking on her profile, her most recent daily update was a photo of two hands intertwined. After 5 years of marriage, I recognized Marcus's hand at a glance. The young woman's daily posts were like a little ray of sunshine, optimistic, proactive, and a bit cute. She also did well academically, having passed her advanced proficiency exams, earned scholarships every year, and completed her certified accountant, CPA, and basic IT certifications. From the selfie she posted, she indeed bore some resemblance to me. While I didn't know why Marcus would find a mistress who looked so much like me, if they could actually make it work, I could make a clean break from the Marcus family. So, I needed to create opportunities for them. This year, our wedding anniversary and Valentine's Day fell on the same day, so I very thoughtfully booked a cruise. Taking Mia and Celeste along with Chloe, we embarked on a month-long beach trip, primarily to create a couple's getaway for Marcus. Chloe's summer vacation started, and I had always wanted to take her to the beach. After all, once she started elementary school, she wouldn't have such carefree and happy days. This opportunity was perfect. Celeste also brought Leo, so Chloe had a playmate. After traveling for a while, we arrived at a quiet coastal town and rented a small villa. Chloe and Leo, exhausted from travel, went to bed early. The four of us set up a small barbecue in the yard. Mia ordered 4 Starbucks deliveries, which arrived quickly, perfectly packaged and ice cold. Barbecue wit. Coffee? Only you, Mia. Naomi said, giving her a thumbs up as she took her coffee. What's wrong? Aren't we just here to have fun with Grace? Besides, Celeste and Grace will be looking after the kids tonight. Or did you expect us to have a couple of drinks with you? Mia was unfazed, handing a room temperature coffee to Celeste. Celeste, I specifically ordered this at room temperature for you. Ah, thank you, Mia, Celeste said, taking the coffee cheerfully and thanking her. She then turned to me. Leo really liked that PlayStation Portable. Thank you, Grace. Oh, how did you know I prepared it? I asked, smiling, as I took the coffee Mia handed me. Do I even need to say? Marcus is swamped with work. How could he think of these things? Which of our sis's birthday gifts weren't picked out by Grace? Mia took a big sip of coffee, complaining casually. Oh, right. This is for you, Grace. Naomi seemed to suddenly remember something and handed me a gift box. Looking at the Bulgari necklace inside the gift box, I looked back at her in surprise. It's from the brand. Take it and wear it for fun. Naomi casually took a sip of her coffee, her beautiful face devoid of any extra emotion. Wow, big star, I want one too. Mia quickly clung to Naomi's arm, smiling sycophantically. Oh, please. Your top supporter is practically sending you villas. Do you really need my paltry sum? Naomi tucked her chestnut hair back, saying softly. Celeste shook her head with a smile, placing 2 skewers of grilled meat on my plate. I looked at the 3 beauties, each with their own unique charms, and couldn't help but lament the strange twists of fate. Celeste was Marcus's first love from his student days. He met the girl he most wanted to protect when he was at his most vulnerable. Yes, that was probably the storyline. At that time, the Marcus family heir had not yet been decided, and Eleanor naturally wouldn't allow Marcus to make such a low-level mistake. Later, Celeste studied abroad, pursuing her passion for fashion design, and married a mature, steady designer. Unfortunately, it didn't last. Her husband died prematurely. She returned home alone with her young son and met the successful and established Marcus. At 15, she was a perfect score in Marcus's heart. It was a shame he couldn't keep her then, but now that he had the means, he naturally wanted to make up for the regrets of youth. I remember when Celeste returned home with Leo, Marcus, and I were on our honeymoon. At that time, Marcus actually left me alone in Bali for her, of course, with a host of staff, security, and plenty of money. Naomi was an unknown, struggling actress back then. When she learned Marcus was picking up Celeste, she specially flew to Bali to find me. I suppose our delicate bond began at that moment. As for Mia, a food blogger, she was noticed because she accidentally made a unique dessert that Marcus liked, and she later became one of Marcus's women. Marcus had more women than I could count. But ultimately, only the 4 of us remained. It wasn't so much that we were chosen, but rather that we formed stable partnerships. Naomi was single-handedly made a big star by Marcus, and various endorsements from Brightstar naturally went to her, forming a stable partnership. Celeste, with Marcus's help, established her own studio and is now an emerging haute couture designer. Celeste gained prominence in the industry through Marcus's influence, and Marcus, in turn, gained favors and built a strong network through her reputation. As for Mia, Marcus funded her own food brand. With her authentic, high-quality food, sweet looks, and charming personality, Mia became quite famous in the e-commerce live-streaming community. Now her brand has even expanded into franchise stores, with Brightstar holding a 40% stake and enjoying steady profits. Some might wonder why, given their achievements, they didn't try to shed the illicit status of a mistress. The reason is actually it's simple. It's easy to give up fleeting affection, but you can't just throw away years of hard work and dedication. Moreover, with someone like Marcus, love is simply not on the table. We only talk business, benefits, and growth opportunities. One thing is certain, Marcus always preferred women who were clear-headed, rational, and ambitious. That's probably why the four of us, despite our conflicting positions and different circles, could sit together so peacefully. We all clearly understood what we wanted, and playing the love card with Marcus is a losing game. The university student posted an update. 7 Mia, eating skewers, leaned over to look at Naomi's phone. Then, she wore a bewildered expression. This piqued my curiosity. Celeste and I exchanged glances and also leaned in to look at Naomi's phone screen. I hope I'm always your only one, your favorite, your worth. The accompanying photos showed 2 hands wearing a designer diamond ring, and a picture of a marriage proposal. A designer diamond ring, that's a wedding ring, isn't it? Mia asked, frowning. I hear a man can only buy one in his lifetime? Celeste said, Google it as if she were an archaeologist. Grace, what do you think? Naomi looked at me with some concern. That's quite something. Let me take a closer look. So I took the cell phone, zoomed in carefully on the proposal picture, and then glanced at the comment section, unable to help but laugh aloud. Pinned at the top of the comment section was an undeniable post. Everyone, let me introduce you to my fiancé at Brightstar Group. Marcus, did he tell you? Celeste looked at me, a worried expression on her face. I calmly shook my head, but my mind was already quickly listing what I wanted: Chloe's custody. This was a rare opportunity, so I asked Naomi if she knew a reliable public relations specialist. I wanted to get that Instagram post trending. Naomi frowned, looked at me for a long time, and finally agreed. We had a great time in the quiet Eastside town, while Daydreamer's social media handle, Instagram post remained a trending topic. Watching the rising popularity, I knew Marcus's influence was probably at play. It seemed he truly wanted a new Mrs. Marcus, just as I wished. When we returned to Coastwood City, Marcus uncharacteristically drove his black Bugatti to pick up Chloe and me. Normally, this was the driver's job. How was it, Grace? Did you have fun? Marcus still looked elegant and charming, showing no flaws. Yes, I had a wonderful time, Mr. Marcus. I replied with a slight smile, emphasizing the words, Mr. Marcus. Marcus smiled dotingly and even reached out to stroke my hair, saying, Grace, do you know what I like most about you? I looked up, still holding Chloe's soft little hand in my other, and candidly said, that I'm practical? Exactly. The divorce agreement is ready. Get in the car and read it at your leisure. Marcus smiled gently, glancing at Chloe, and said, Daddy and Mommy are separating. Who do you want to be with? Mommy, of course. Chloe said, with an expression that clearly said, do you even need to ask, which amused Marcus. He tapped her nose and said, little ungrateful one. Marcus gave me a very generous settlement, but custody wasn't addressed. I want Chloe's custody. I looked up at Marcus, who said with some helplessness, my mother isn't easy to negotiate with. Then I'll have to trouble Mr. Marcus to put in some effort. Once I have Chloe's custody, I'll sign immediately. That's my only condition. Marcus looked in the rearview mirror at Chloe nestled in my arms, sighed, and only said he would expedite it. However, before I heard from Marcus, Eleanor found me first. I hear my good-for-nothing son wants to divorce you for some university student? Why are you so useless? Eleanor demanded, her chest heaving with anger. To be honest, I've shouldered this absurd blame far too often these past few years. And now, I'm tired of it. Yes, I am useless. I'm prepar. ing to step down and let a more capable person take my place. I smiled sweetly at the well-preserved old woman, my tone surprisingly calm. You. How dare you talk back to me? How presumptuous. Auntie, I'm merely stating the facts. For years, your son has been cheating and seeking out other women, and every time, you try to pin his misdeeds on me. I'm tired of taking the blame. My back was straight, my expression unchanged, my voice calm and gentle. Slap, my face snapped to one side, my left cheek burning. If you divorce him, don't expect to ever see Chloe again. As long as I'm around, that hussy won't set foot in this house. Eleanor bellowed, her voice booming, finally revealing her domineering nature. Mom. Her name is Summer. Can't you have some class? Marcus suddenly rushed over, grabbing my shoulders. He looked at my swollen cheek, a pained expression on his face. Then he turned and said, Mom, you forced Celeste out, you stopped me from marrying Grace, and now you won't let Summer into the house. Aren't you interfering too much? You imbecile. Tomorrow I'll ruin that conniving little tramp. And that good-for-nothing burden. If you two divorce, I'll sell her to a dangerous criminal network's territory. I suddenly stood up and splashed a glass of water on Eleanor's face. You tried to touch Chloe. With that, I hurried home without looking back. When I saw Chloe and Leo sitting on the playmat, piecing Lego together, the anxiety weighing on my heart finally lifted. Celeste looked at my swollen face and silently handed me a cool handkerchief, then led me to the small garden outside. Who hit you? Celeste asked, concerned. Marcus's mother, I answered softly. Celeste gave a knowing look and said nothing more. That evening, Marcus returned to our villa with a new divorce agreement. This time, the agreement explicitly granted me Chloe's custody and even included a Mercedes-Benz G-Wagon, saying it would make it easier for me to pick up and drop off Chloe. I raised an eyebrow. It seemed the slap wasn't for nothing. After signing the divorce agreement, Marcus and I agreed to go to the county's office the next day. Marcus looked at me thoughtfully, finally asking casually, no hug? I found it a bit ridiculous, but thinking of Chloe's custody and our purely platonic marriage, I ultimately opened my arms and hugged him back. A month later, I finally received the divorce certificate as I had wished. The unused designer bags I had listed on the resale platform were almost all sold. Marcus also gave me the villa with a small garden, which I accepted without question and then immediately sold for $6.5 million. So, with a bank card holding $7 million and driving a Mercedes-Benz G-Wagon, I embarked on my brand new 30th year of life. The day I left Coastwood City was a pleasant, sunny afternoon. The familiar streetscape rapidly flashed by, and Chloe was very happy, because I had bought her a golden retriever puppy, which she had wanted for a long time. Inside the car, Chloe's joyful laughter, which had been absent for too long, mingled with the soft, puppy barks of the golden retriever. The wind outside carried the scent of fresh grass, a smell I would call the taste of freedom. I took Chloe back to her hometown, a quiet border town with a slow pace of life, scenic views, and hospitable people. Every family day of remembrance, I take Chloe to visit my mother. The $40,000 received from Marcus had only sustained my mother's life for 4 years. Although I married into a wealthy family and was seemingly perfect on the surface, my mother could always see my unhappiness and often blamed herself for it. However, under those circumstances, there was no better or faster way, and I have never regretted my choice. My past self stood in a fog, equally lost, able only to take one step at a time. Chloe became much more outgoing, making many new friends in this small town. And I became a full-time writer. Every day, besides picking up and dropping off Chloe and preparing 3 meals, I would write, do my nails, or watch movies in my free time. In the evenings, Chloe and I would take Buddy, the dog, out for a stroll. Now he should be called Big, the dog. 4 or 5 years passed in a flash. Naomi won the Best Award and announced her retirement from the entertainment industry, causing her fans to lament online for a long time. Celeste moved to France, opening her studio there. However, Leo and Chloe still kept in touch, occasionally making international calls and receiving gifts from overseas. Mia does less live streaming now. Her franchise stores have even opened here. I took a photo for her when I passed by one day. The second time I went to eat there, the owner didn't charge me, saying a mysterious benefactor had already paid for my meals and I wouldn't have to pay in the future. It scared me so much I never dared to go back. Occasionally, I would hear news of Marcus. He and Summer divorced 2 years into their marriage. This was because Summer couldn't win over Eleanor's approval and couldn't understand why Marcus always had other women around him. Marcus never remarried, but he never ran out of women by his side. But that no longer concerns me. At 20, I made a necessary choice and spent 10 years experiencing the gains and losses that came with it. Now, I have a lovely daughter, a loyal big dog who loves us mother and daughter wholeheartedly, and, barring any unforeseen circumstances, money I won't outlive. I love my current life, and I always tell Chloe, love yourself first, then others. Following the everything happens for a reason that benefits me mindset, Chloe gradually grew into a clear-headed and rational girl with a strong inner core. I am very happy. I never wanted Chloe to grow into the kind of girl who is gentle, sensible, and kind. These seemingly beautiful words are no different from emotional blackmail. I hope she will weigh the pros and cons, calculate gains and loss, and be a romantic yet shrewd woman who is happy because she herself is happy. And I, Grace, have finally become the woman who truly, truly loves herself. Thank you for listening to today's story. If you enjoyed this video, please like and share it with friends. We look forward to hearing your thoughts in the comments. Feel free to share your views, and don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more exciting stories. See you next time.